Now, if we peek inside the black box, however, we find that it is not just Bala who is using the resources in the virtual platform, but there is also Piero, and there is also Kim, and possibly others who are also running their own applications, their own operating system on the same shared hardware resources. Why would we want to do this? Well, unless we are quite unlucky, the hope is that sharing hardware resources across several different user communities is going to result in making the cost of ownership and maintenance of the shared resources much cheaper. The fundamental intuition that makes sharing hardware resources across a diverse set of users is the fact that resource usage is typically very bursty. If we were to draw, let's take one particular resource usage, for instance, memory. If we were to draw Bala's memory usage over time, it might look like this. And maybe Piero's need for memory over time may look like this, and Kim's like this, and so on. Now, adding all of these dynamic needs of different user communities, we may see a cumulative usage pattern that might look like this. Now, let's consider Bala's cost. If he were to buy his own server, then he would have to buy as much as this, because that is the peak usage that he has, and probably he'll want to do more than that just to be on the safe side. The virtual machine actually has a total available memory that's much more than the individual needs of any one of these guys. And each of these guys get to share the cost of the total resources among themselves. On a big enough scale, what this would mean is that each of these guys will have potentially access to a lot more resources than they can individually afford to pay for at a fraction of the cost, because both the cost of acquiring the resource as well as maintaining it and upgrading it and so on is borne collectively. And that, in a nutshell, is the hope behind utility computing that is promoted by data centers worldwide. And this is how Amazon Web Service, Microsoft, and so on, they all provide resource on a shared basis to a wide clientele. Some of you may have already seen the connection to what we have seen in the previous lecture. Yes, virtualization is the logical extension to the idea of extensibility or specialization of services that we've seen in the previous lesson through the spin and exokernel papers. Only now it is applied at a much larger granularity, namely an entire operating system. In other words, virtualization is extensibility applied at the granularity of an entire operating system as opposed to individual services within an operating system.